Alright, today I'm going to start working on a holster for my Taurus 856 revolver that I have, and I'm going to take you along as we work on things and show you just exactly how I do things when it comes to making a holster. I already have the holster cut out. I've cut it out with my round knife, and now I have to wet the leather. I always use this product, B-Carve, made by B Natural Leathercraft, and you mix it 10 to 1. So I'm going to pour a half a cup in my measuring cup. And I have an old detergent bottle that I've confiscated many days ago, many years ago, and I pour it in here. And then I have to put 5 cups of water in here, give it a little shake, and I will be back for that next thing. I have the water all put in, and so I'll put the lid on here, give it a little shake, and then I do this. I put it in a spray bottle. I usually do this over the sink to catch all the drips. I don't have to worry about them, but it's all on this piece of cardboard, so that should work fine. I find this stuff works excellent for me. I have used it for many years, and I can just take my leather and spray it down with this mixture. I spray both sides. Let it sit for a little while. Maybe 5 minutes or so. Doesn't take long. This mixture soaks in faster than the water, and I can begin to shape my holster into the shape I want it to be. Then I can lay out where I'm going to do my stamping. Make sure the edges are all together the way I want them. Then I mark. Take my dividers and set it for just about a ½ inch. And mark this line around where I'm going to tool. Just like that. I got to catch this little corner here. So it looks like that. Then I need a mark for my lacing holes. I lace almost all my holsters. So I set it for just under 1/4 of an inch and mark my lacing holes. This has to be done on both sides. So it looks like that. Now the holster's been wet, so I have to lay out where I'm going to put the design, which is going to be basket weave. So I fold it in half, just like it's going to be. Lay my straight edge on. And scribe my line. Take my dividers and I set them for about 1/2 inch. Looks like that. I still have to fill this in yet. I lay my straight edge on there to do that. Makes it look just like that. Then I set my dividers for just under 1/4 of an inch. And this marks my lacing, where I'm going to put my lacing holes. Do both the front and the back of the holster. Like that. This being the front, this is the back. Then I want to lay a line on the holster for me to follow for when I stamp the basket weave. I do that. Makes the holster look like that. Now I need to get my poundo board up here and pound the holes for the lace. These lacing chisels are from Weaver Leather. I like them very much. I've had them for several years. And they just do a fine job. Mark it a little bit, move it over here, get all those in. I do one side then the other because I want them to be exact I don't want to come up to the end and find out that I have not stamped the same amount of holes in the leather, in the holster, because that gives me problems when I'm ready to lace. So I go back and forth, try not to make any mistakes. If there's any doubt, I count the holes. So we're going to do that now just to make sure. $25. $25. That is good. Now I need to punch the other holes. I have a hole that the strap comes through, and it is a long hole. Goes right there. And I have a rivet that has to go in here, hold that strap, it goes there, and a rivet over, or a hole over here for the snap. Now, one other thing that I do on these holsters, and I use this tool here. This also came from Weaver Leather. I had it custom made, and it makes my holsters more uniform for the belt loop. That takes care of that. It looks much better. Now we got to get rid of our poundo board. And I take my swivel knife and I cut the border. I do not cut this back border because I'm folding it there and I don't want it to crack later. It won't do that on these other two sides, but it's possible it could crack there because of the stress if I cut it down here, so I don't cut that. Next thing I do is put my maker stamp on it. There it is, maker stamp, ready to go. Now I just need to stamp the basket weave. And I'm using small basket weave And these are Berry King stamping tools. I really like them. They're far better than the Tandy. Tandy will get you by for a start, but these Berry King are very nice. Good clear impressions. Yeah, they're well worth the money. Try to be careful and get that first row as straight as I can. It sure helps keep the rest of it straight. And because I don't think it's that interesting to watch someone stamp basket weave, we will be back when it's done. We have all the basket weave stamped on. Looks like that. Now it's time to do the border tool. I always start up in this corner and go this way, and then start and go that way, and then start here and go that way. It's important to start and do it that way because when you run close to your edges, you might not get up to this upper corner up here. You might not have room for a full border tool impression. If you do it this way, you got your full border tool impression there. And then I start here when I'm ready and go down here, and I don't come into where I don't have room to put my tool. So you always want to start that way when you're stamping a holster or other things too. When you have corners you have to stamp into. I have completed the stamping on the holster, as you can see there. And now I have to do the edging. I take my edger and just go around the holster. And I turn around and do part of this side. I don't have to do where it meets for the lacing, but all the rest of it needs to be done. And I do it in here where the strap comes through on the inside of the holster also. Makes the edge much better that way. Fold that over. Now I have to whip stitch the lace. I use a cheap lace. It's a cheap plastic lace, and I whip stitch it, and then I fit the holster in. Alright, we have the holster lace with the cheap plastic lace. That lace will be cut out of there and thrown away. I put it in there for the purpose of fitting my gun in the holster. The gun is wrapped with plastic wrap to keep moisture out of the inside of it. And we push the gun in, and then we just push it around with our thumbs and our fingers and just keep molding it around. Fits in good, not going to fall out, and it fits very well. Push this down a little bit. That'll be sewn on before we put the final lacing in. Fits in there fine. Now this is cut down. This is cut down plenty far right here, so the person can get in here and the holster's not interfering with the gripping of the gun. Now we just have to set this on the drying rack and let it dry. I have my holsters. They've dried through the night, and now I'm ready to put the dye on them. Cut out all the old plastic lace. Alright, the first one I'm going to dye a light brown. This is oil dye, Phoebe's oil dye. Make sure all my edges are dyed. Okay, this next one is going to be mahogany. It's also the oil dye. I don't use anything else. There it is, ready to go in the drying rack. And once that gets dry, we'll continue on. The dye has all dried in the holsters, and so now it's time for me to smooth the inside and the edges. I use a product called Gum Tragacanth to do this. I pour it into another little bottle that I have here, easier to handle. All over the inside. I take a piece of plexiglass. This is about a 1/4 inch thick, and it's been rounded on the edge. And I just start rubbing the inside, laying down all those fine little pieces of leather that are sticking up. Makes the gun slide in and out a little bit smoother and keeps it from wearing on the finish as quickly. And the excess I will rub off with a towel. I want to make sure that I get that area in there. Then I do the edges. Careful not to get it on the outside any more than absolutely have to, because it can stain the outside, as there's no finish on the outside yet. Sometimes it can leave a dark stain on the outside, so I just want it just on the edges. And I do it down here also. The edges where my lace is going to be doesn't matter, so I don't do that part. Once I get a good coat on there, I go to the drill press and start smoothing it up. Good job, makes the edges nice and smooth. It gives your holsters a professional look. Now I just lay that down and let it dry. Alright, both holsters have been given a coat of gum tragacanth. I've allowed them to dry. Now I'm going to put a coat of finish on them. I use this product, Tan Coat, and again I put it in my own little container because it's easier for me to handle that way. We'll do the brown one first, and I do both inside and outside. A good coat, but not piled up on it. The noise you probably hear in the background is my freezer. It's probably the noisiest freezer we've ever owned. And I'm glad it's down here instead of up in the house. Make sure, get my edges on this too. I want them to be coated well everywhere. And this is not the only coat of finish it's going to get, as you will see as we progress a little bit farther. Now the mahogany one. Looking better and better. But they're going to look even better than that, because the next thing I have to do on it is antique them. After I antique them, you'll see the change. Here they are, so you can see what they look like now. Tan coat has been allowed to dry. Now it's time to antique. I use this product for antiquing. And again, I put it in my own container. Much easier to handle that way. I use a wool dauber or a wool pad. And I like it to be pretty runny. It looks pretty good today. If it's not runny enough, I put a little bit of tan coat in with it and stir it up, and that thins it down. So I put it on here, and then take my holster and just start smearing it all over my holster. When I first started doing this, it was kind of hard for me to do in the first couple. Get all that gooey stuff down in my finely tooled holster. But I learned that it turns out well in the end. I want it down in all the little cracks and crevices made by the tool, down in all that little bit of bitty basket weave. I put it over all the holster because it does darken it a little bit, and I want it all to be the same. Get it all down in there like that. And then we take the nice clean blue towel and I wipe it off right away. I know there are different ways to do this. Some people don't do it like I do, but this is my way. Get all of it back off that I can. If there happens to be some smeared here or there that I miss, it'll come off when I do the next finish coat. And it looks like that. Now for the mahogany. And we wipe it off. And I think I got that one pretty good. And that's what they look like now. Now we just let them dry. Both holsters have dried from the antiquing that I gave to them. Now I'm going to put a coat of finish on, brighten them up, and it actually takes off a little bit more of that antique that's out on the surface, and it seals the rest in, and it makes them shine. This is the brown one we're working on. And we want to get that finish down in all those cracks now to seal that off. Keep that antique finish down in there. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Here's the mahogany. Get them all on there. This really brightens them up, really makes them nice. And they will get one more coat of finish after the lacing is done. But before that, I have to fit straps. There they are. Aren't those two gorgeous looking holsters? They are beautiful. And they're going to get more beautiful. Now it's time to fit the straps for the gun. Check to make sure the gun is unloaded, which it is. Then I take prepared straps, fit them in the holster. Then put the gun in. Bring that strap down across. And we'll cut it off right there. Do the same with this one. If we get them a little bit long, it doesn't matter because I can cut them off again. So we've cut the straps, we've installed them with a rivet in both holsters, and now I am ready to glue the belt loop on and then sew. So I've marked it where I want it to be, and now I take a little piece of sandpaper and I rough that up. Helps the glue to grip it a little bit better. And so it's not going to come off there. Then I go in here and I'm careful with this so I don't get out of the edges, mess up the holster. And I just sand that, finish off of that, and rough the leather up a little bit in those spots. Then I use this barge cement, which works great for me. And you put some on here, being careful not to get it on the edge. And then we put it in here. Don't want it to drip there. We put it down in this section that I've sanded on this part of the holster. Just like that. And we just let that dry. Once that's dry, then those two will go together and you won't be able to pull them apart without ripping the leather. Holsters have been all glued and the glue is set up. Now we just carefully press them together. Once they touch together, they're not going to move. That glue is some of the best ever. Push them together. And now we're ready to go to the sewing machine and sew the belt loops. Cut these threads off so they don't give me heartache getting tangled up in there. Right now my holsters are finished, except for the lacing and final coat of finish and putting snaps on. So I will be back when all that is finished. Maybe someday I'll do a video on lacing, but that's for another video. So we'll get these finished up as soon as we can. Well, the holsters are finished and they turned out absolutely beautiful. They slide in very nice. They got good retention. and they fit well. They're so good, I think I'm going to keep one for myself. So here they are. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best. And don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. Thanks for going with me on this holster building journey.